here in attendance for our SWAC football head coaches media session for Monday, September 12th. Quick recap of scores from around the SWAC. Saturday, September 10th. North Texas defeated Texas Southern by a score of 59-27. South Carolina State defeated Bethune-Cookman by a score of 33-9. Austin Peay defeated Mississippi Valley by a score of 41-0. UCLA defeated Alabama State by a score of 45-7. Florida A&M over Albany State by a score of 23-13. Grambling State over Northwestern State by a score of 47-21. Arkansas Pine Bluff defeated North American University by a score of 76-3. Tulane defeated Alcorn State by a score of 52-0. Jackson State over Tennessee State by a score of 16-3. Troy over Alabama A&M by a score of 38-17. LSU defeated Southern by a score of 65-17. And Abilene Christian defeated Prairie A&M by a score of 21-13. Just a reminder for our media that are in attendance and participating in the call, if you do have a question, please utilize the raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue for our coaches. We do ask your questions to 2 questions, 1 question, and then potentially a follow-up. If we do have time, we will make our way back to you for additional questions if the time allots. Once again, we ask you also please keep your lines muted if you're not actively asking a question, and please wait to be called upon before asking your question to our coaches. With that being said, our first coach for our media session today will be Coach Maynor with Alabama A&M. We'll be with him in approximately right at about 1 minute, so we're a tad bit early, but we'll be joined by Coach Maynor to start. Thank you for your patience. Happy to be joined by Coach Maynor with Alabama A&M. Coach, as always, thank you so much for taking some time to join us.
Thank you. No problem.
Coach, if you would please start us out with an opening statement regarding your team's most recent outing at Troy.
Yeah, we went up to take on Troy, very tough opponent, and actually we didn't play bad the first half. Got to a good start and got the lead 3-0 and held it for a little bit. We turned the ball over down in the red zone a couple of times and had some great opportunities to even up that score. We threw an interception on I think the 7-yard line on the second possession of the game and turned some momentum. And we was able to withstand that and then get a field goal and keep a 3-zip lead till late in the first half. And they tied it up and then they got a touchdown right before half. So we was right in the game, right where we wanted to be, 10-3 going into half. And then we came out in the second half. They went right down and scored, and they got it again and scored. And they kind of stayed that way for a while, and we got a score, and they got another score, and we was able to get one more score to end the football game. So I was proud of my guys. We kept fighting. We competed, and we got a lot of stuff we got to work on, and we're gonna be working on those things, and it's only better things to come.
For those comments, Coach, we'll now open up the floor for questions for Coach Maynor. Once again, if you do have a question, please utilize the raise your hand feature here on Zoom to get your question in the queue for Coach. Currently taking questions for Coach Maynor. First question goes to Dr. Cavill.
You on mute, Doc?
Yes, sir. Hit it too fast. Coach Maynor, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing good, Doc. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm excited about all this HBCU football, trying to get it all on my docket.
Hey,
particularly, I saw what you – go ahead, Coach.
I said, if I had your hand, I'll fold mine.
Yeah, man, I'm trying to get yours. I see what you're doing over there. Played up FBS program, but you played well, particularly early in that matchup. What were some of the things your team was able to do successful, and how do you transfer that to the next week?
Well, we was defensively, we was able to get off the field, stay in front of the chains, and we had field position, and we kept it that way. Offensively, we was able to move the ball. We could run the ball, we could throw the ball, we was executing. Quarterback arm got hit, like I said, on the second possession in the red zone, and arm got hit and threw the ball right to the linebacker for interception. Then we would have had a chip shot field goal and still got another play to try to get another touchdown. So the guys was playing well, was executing good. They was competing. We just got to continue doing the little things that got us in that position to have 3 and outs and not allow them to have big plays and for us to move the ball and execute. We just got to keep doing those things for 60 minutes and in order to be successful.
Moving on to the next week's game, which is your first home game against Austin P, the Governors. Talk about what you've seen of them. I'm sure you start the film process. What do you see in terms of what they're able to get done and how in some film, I guess you can't talk about it all, but what are you things that you want to see your team do to attack it from a defensive perspective?
Well, they got a good football team, a good program. They're a playoff team. And I think this, they look pretty good on tape. I think they're probably, it's probably one of their better teams in probably the last 4 or 5 years. And they're very solid on offense, defense, and special teams. They're well coached. They're disciplined. They play hard. They played Valley this weekend. They got out the Valley pretty good. So we know how improved Valley is. So that means they really got a good football team. And we got to be very disciplined and sound. And we just got to take care of ourselves. I think if we play Bulldog football and be solid and take care of ourselves and do the little things on defense, I think we'll be fine.
Thank you, Coach. Look forward to the matchup this weekend. Good luck.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Question goes to Mo Carter.
Hey, Coach.
Hey, Mo.
So I'd love to just know what did you think about the improved play of your quarterbacks from week 1 to week 2?
I like it, Mo. We still got some more work to do, but that's usually when you get your most improvement from week 1 to week 2. And we saw that in those guys this past weekend. So we're looking for those guys to continue to improve. I try to tell everybody, you can't replace Quill Glass, man. He was a 4-year starter. And the guy that run out there is not going to be a Quill Glass. He knew every check, knew exactly what the defense was doing, what we want to do, where we want to go with the ball, and he can get it out of his hand real fast. He made everybody better. And so these guys are still learning how to do that. And it's a process. So they're coming along.
Okay. And then my other question I wanted to ask, and kind of Dr. Ville went on, kind of asked it a little bit or whatever, so I'm going to kind of do something else with it. When it comes to playing Austin P, obviously they're a team that's been very competitive in the OVC, made the postseason. So what would it mean to this Alabama A&M program to really show their worth against an FCS elite type program from the recent years?
Well, that's where we want to be. We want to get our program to where we compete for championships and getting into the playoffs if we have the opportunity. Of course, you got to get 7 FCS wins to be eligible for the playoffs. Last year, we only had 6. We was 1 short. But unfortunately for us, and the conference fam got in. And so we want to continue that. We want to show those guys that we can compete with those teams that play in the playoffs and possibly beat them. So it's a big game for us at A&M and for the SWAC conference. We want to show the committee that the teams in the SWAC not only can play with these teams, but we can beat them.
Okay. Sounds good. See you on Saturday.
Yes, sir.
Currently taking questions for Coach Maynor with Alabama A&M. Any final questions for Coach Maynor? Coach, as always, we appreciate your time. We look forward to speaking with you again next week.
Thank you, and congratulations to all the coaches that won this week.
Thank you. Next, we'll be joined by Coach Robinson with Alabama State. We are a little bit ahead of schedule for his time allotment, so we will pause here for a few minutes and we will be back momentarily. Thank you for your patience. Just a few quick reminders. Once again, if you are not actively asking a question to one of the head coaches, please make sure that your line is muted. Once you are called upon, please unmute your line and feel free to ask your questions. Please limit your questions to 2 questions, one initial question and then a follow-up. If we do have time, we will make our rounds back to answer additional questions. All right, we're happy to be joined now by Alabama State head coach Eddie Robinson Jr.
Good morning. How's it going today?
Hey, good morning, Coach. Thank you so much, as always, for taking some time out of your schedule to join us. Coach, if you would please start us out with an opening statement regarding your team's last outing at.
Yeah, so we had the privilege to play at the Rose Bowl versus UCLA. I don't know if you've ever been there, but great stadium, great venue. The band was able to attend, had a lot of fans there, a lot of West Coast people to support us, so that was really good. Game started off, we got down a couple scores, 14-0. The kids fought back, had a touchdown drive by Miles Crawley to Jeremiah Hickson, which was very exciting. Cut the lead to 14-7. Kind of went back and forth. You had a turnover here or there, gave them a short field. Down 24-7 at the half, and then they had a late score right before the half, made it 31-7. Kids came back out and played hard, competed. Had a lot of good things, a lot of things we have to work on. Final score was 45-7. Fortunately, we got out of it with not a lot of injuries and those type of things. I think everybody has a different opinion on playing those games against the FBS opponents, but I thought it was more good than bad. Just a great experience for the kids. Had a lot of guys who have those NFL aspirations who play well. Keenan Isaac, Brandon Gaddy, those type of guys who showed that they could play at that level against that level of competition. So it was really good for those guys to kind of get that on tape. And all in all, I thought it was a positive experience, even though we didn't get the W.
Thank you for those comments, Coach. We'll now open it for questions for Coach Robinson. First question goes to Stephen Gaither.
Good morning, Coach Robinson. How you doing?
Pretty good. How are you today?
Doing well, doing well. Obviously, you guys played in the SWAC Challenge in Atlanta. That's a platform. But then this game, obviously, in LA, different atmosphere out west. Just, expound a little bit on the experience aspect for your players. How big is it for you guys as a program to give the just to give the cultural experience for your players, and what did you think they took from the off the field stuff?
It was pretty good. We was able to get there on Thursday. Went to the had a little beach outing on Long Beach, which was opening kickoff thing for the NFL. So we were able to watch the Bills game versus the Rams. So that was really good. Went to a Black Firefighter Museum and talked about a little bit of the history of integration of the fire department in Los Angeles. So it was a lot of things other than football. Did a little community service event with about 20 of the younger kids. Was able to travel with some freshmen who were able to get some playing time. So I think that's big, just to kind of set the tone of the program. It was one thing that we used to help recruit kids over the summer, especially those transfer kids. That way we'll be on, a big platform playing UCLA. So I think it's something that you use as a positive. Unfortunately, we didn't come out on top, but I thought we competed hard. You're always trying to represent the conference, and to me, representing those coaches in the conference who didn't get a chance to play these type of games, who had the players who could have won them. So for me, I kind of remind that to the kids just to where we are in the whole big scheme of college football and the SWAC and the history of the conference. So to me, those are the type of things that are important.
Appreciate it, Coach. Good luck.
Thanks.
Next question goes to Zach McKinnell.
How you doing, Coach?
Doing great. How's it going?
Not too bad. My question is for your upcoming opponent. You have Prairie coming up on the schedule, and they've shown two very different offensive looks these first 2 weeks of the season. What have you kind of noticed on film that's going to present some challenges for your defense?
Yeah, the good thing is we have a bye week coming up, but we did talk about that, so we'll have an extra week to prepare. We was able to watch them with technology, able to watch them riding back home before we got to the plane, so that was a good thing. So, of course, saw them against Texas Southern also. Definitely a physical team. They're going to run the football, and the quarterback's going to also have his chance running and be smart in the passing game. So something that we have talked about to try to prepare for those guys, and fortunately we'll get a good 3 games to watch. And so we definitely have moved into that mindset of getting ready for SWAC play. Next 7 or 8 games are all SWAC games. So for us, we're locked in and kind of put these first 3 games behind us. Getting into this bye week, you want to get healthy, but more importantly, we definitely want to prepare for the next game, which is Prairie.
Thank you, Coach.
Next question goes to Dr. Cavill.
Good morning, Coach.
Good morning. How's it going?
Doing pretty good. I know they often have talked about those road trips going east to west. How do you feel that has affected you anyway? And I guess maybe the extra week will help get you back, if it has, in terms of just the traveling framework of going from East Coast to West Coast, basically.
Yeah, I mean, it was a production. I mean, we left 4 a.m. I had to drive to Birmingham. For some reason, with the airport in Montgomery, they didn't have everything set up for us to leave out of the airport, nothing that we could control. So we had to pivot, drive to Birmingham and fly out of there. So fortunately, it was on Thursday and not a Friday. So we had that extra day. As far as the game, I thought the kids were rested and ready to go. But by the time we got back home, it was like 6 a.m. So the good thing is we did have a bye week. It would have been a real tough turnaround if we'd have had a game coming up this week. With the bye week, we should get everything kind of resettled and back on track. But yeah, just note to self for us, if you ever play a game like that on the West Coast, you definitely want to have a bye week after it. I think we have a turnaround going to Houston and coming back with a home game, so that's not too bad. I think when you have those back-to-back travel weeks, that's what makes it tough. But for us, I think it works out pretty good the way the schedule is set up.
Second question was alluded to in terms of getting prepared to play Prairie View. How early do you start the preparation for a team when you have a open week? And is there such thing as preparing too early for a team?
No, I don't think so. We did the same thing getting ready for the first game with Howard. Once we got past the scrimmage, we prepared for 2 weeks. First week was just some general stuff. Of course, that last week you kind of dial it in and get more specific. So we'll work on us, of course, correct the mistakes, the things that we know teams have had success with against us for the last couple of weeks. We'll correct those things. It's a copycat league. If we hadn't stopped certain formations or certain plays, then of course we're going to see those same plays. So we want to make sure that we're able to stop that and correct us first, and then after that we'll get right into Prairie View. So the first day or two, you correct all your mistakes, you kind of catch up, do your self scouting, and after that, I mean, you get on to the next game. So we we get 24 hours to celebrate, 24 hours to be sad. So that period's over with. So now it's getting ready for Prairie View.
Thank you, Coach.
Absolutely.
Next question goes to Stephen Gaither.
Yeah, this question was for Coach Robinson. Obviously, you know, got a little bit of time here, but you know, you and Coach McDowell, I know you guys are both first-year head coaches and you play together as well at the Oilers. Just talk about what it's going to be like when you get a chance to match up with him and his program as you guys get a chance to go at it as head coaches, knowing, you know, from your days as players.
Yeah, I mean, Bubba's a guy that I have a lot of respect for. I wouldn't have made it in 11 years in the NFL if not for him. Coming into the league, he was probably 5 or 6 years in, and he was one of the guys that would help a young guy. Everybody wasn't like that. So, you know, just coming out of the SWAC conference, being a young guy and him being in the league for 5 or 6 years, having been a starter, started my rookie year, and he was one of those guys who I leaned on. He always was willing to help, just a great teammate. And, you know, we kind of have the same background, you know, played under Buddy Ryan for a year and then with Jeff Fisher and that type of thing. So we probably have a lot of similarities in our thought processes as far as what we want to do from a coaching style standpoint. So that'll be fun to match up with him. You know, just a guy that I have a lot of respect for, who I'm rooting for every week. Saw them play against Abilene Christian, was hoping that they could have pulled it out. You know, there's only one game I want him to lose, and that's against us. But he's the guy that I want to have success in the conference, and he deserves it. Has been working in a SWAC for a long time, and you know, just a great guy.
Got time for one more question for Coach Robinson. Final questions for Coach? Coach Robinson, as always, we appreciate your time, and we'll look forward to speaking with you again next week.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you. About a minute ahead of schedule, but next we'll be joined by Coach McNair with Alcorn State. We'll be back momentarily. Happy to be joined by Coach Fred McNair, the Alcorn State Braves. You see, we have Coach with us. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Coach, as always, we appreciate you taking some time to join us. If you would please start us out with an opening statement about your team's most recent outing versus Tulane.
Well, first of all, I'm very proud of what the guys have done over the last 2 weeks, especially week against Tulane. Very tough FBS team we played against. Open kickoff. We kicked the ball off and we get some turnover right away. Sack fumble. We got stalemate, got 3 and out. Attempted field goal, we missed it. And from there, it just kind of went downhill for us. And but overall, I think the team played very, very physical. Very proud of the effort that they gave during the whole process of that weekend. So the guy was excited about playing the FBS team, showed them we had different speed, different strength, and different things that the FBS team does. You know, I'm very proud of their effort. Like I said, you know, they played very hard, and proud of the coaching staff of getting them prepared for a tough Tulane team. Hats off to Gary, to Willie Fritz down there in Tulane. Does a great job that team, that program. A lot of good things, a lot of good players, a lot of speed. So really excited the way the guys played, and looking forward to this week against McNair State.
Thank you for those comments, Coach McNair. We'll now open it for questions for Coach McNair. First question goes to Kendrick Marshall.
Hey, Coach. First 3 games in your non-conference schedule are pretty tough. Top 10 team in the FCS, then you play at FBS school now. You go back to the FCS, another really good team in the state. What do you hope to learn about your teams through these first 3 non-conference games?
You know, the toughness and the way they play, and the character of not giving up, just competing. You know, these guys compete, and no matter who they play or where they play, these guys gonna come out and fight to the last second, go off the clock, and that's the most thing I'm proud of this group of guys and this coaching staff about. You know, they're gonna play hard, they're gonna coach hard, and it doesn't really matter. You know, just the characters football program that we have established here at Alcorn State. I'm very proud of them. So the biggest thing is they just got to continue to compete. And I think at the end of the day, you know, they will be rewarded for the things they have done over the last 3 weeks coming up to this league game against McNair State. So they're going to continue to fight. That's one thing about this program. They're fighters. So no matter who it is, they're going to continue to fight. And that's the most intriguing thing about this program of how much fight the character these guys got.
A quick follow-up to that, with these 3 games you guys are playing, how can this, you think, help along the way when you guys start conference play?
You know, the biggest thing is, you know, not knocking anything against our conference, but we got one of the greatest conference, I think, in the NFC, in the NCAA, you know, and the biggest thing is, you know, just different speed, different kind of talent. You see during the course of non-conference game that these guys compete against. You know, even coaches, you coaches different. You know, we don't have the capacity of coaches that we would love to have. You know, all the analysts that the other schools have to do different things in their program that we wish we had. You know, but we're still building on it. So we just got to continue to work toward those goals to be able to compete against, you know, those other schools like that. So I think what we're doing in this conference is a very unique thing, the way we're building. My hats off to all the coaches in this conference, the way they prepare their team to play those non-conference schedules and be able to compete against them as well. So the biggest thing is the competition is good for us to see.
All right, thanks.
Question goes to Dr. Cavill.
Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Want to talk a little bit about this McNair State matchup in terms of you being able to see what they've done a couple of years ago. Obviously, players change, coaching, some coaches change as well. What are your thoughts in terms of the early film breakdown of what you have to do to get done against McNair State?
You know, the biggest thing is Coach Goff is coming in as a first-year guy. He's been at Valdosta State for so long. He's competed in a national championship for those 6 straight years there at Valdosta State. He's an offensive guy. He's very established. 11 years as a head coach. You know, he's been doing the things that it takes to do to win. You know, coming into this program with McNair State, you got a 2-headed monster at quarterback. You're going to play 2 guys at quarterback. So got a good running game. Got some good receivers. Josh Matthews, you know, guy come in with over 100 some yards in reception. So we got a task out for us to be able to stop these guys. Got a solid defense led by Kendall Williams at the linebacker spot, and also the safety, Tyler Bourne. So these guys make plays, and they're very capable of doing the things that it takes to win. So we just got to be very solid in the things that we do, offensive, defensive, special teams, to offset that and the things they do so well, you know. But we're up to the task, and the guys are very excited about this week as well. So we know we got to go down and fight, go down and execute, and to our best of our ability. So that's one thing that we will do. We'll go out and execute to get this win.
Thank you, Coach. Look forward to watching the matchup.
Question goes to James Hill.
Hey, Coach, I hope you and everybody on the reservation are well. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing good, thanks.
Awesome. Talk a little bit about Mr. Leatherwood and Mr. Duffy and the ground and pound attack, if you will, Braves football in establishing the run.
I tell you what, I think Coach Ratton does a great job in getting these guys to open up gaps and the gap scheme stuff that we run, with outside zone, inside zone, power stuff. It does a real good job on the offensive line of creating lanes for us. You know, McDuffie does a great job. He's an inside guy too. I mean, he probably don't look like it with his statue at 165, but he likes to run inside. Leatherwood is a hard runner. You know, I never seen him get knocked backwards. He's always a lean forward guy, you know, run the ball very well. And also Mr. Howard, the transfer from Syracuse, is an outstanding player, very smart, and he really the leader in in that room, and just talk to the guys about the little things that really matters in terms of being a great running back.
Coach, defensively, just talk a little bit about the mindset of the Braves as you move forward. And obviously the defense is an area you guys want to look at.
I guess the biggest thing when Coach Thomas came back in as a D coordinator, he brought his own staff with him that knows his defense. And I think that what he's really doing is playing with a lot of speed, playing with a lot of excitement, getting the guys to the ball faster, the things that it takes to win ball games on the defense side. So I think the game against Tulane was a fast-paced game. They did some great things. We take the positive out of the things they did, and we got to work from there. So the defense are very solid. We got some solid guys over there that love to play. In terms of what we're doing on defense.
Coach, in closing, it's been said that sometimes it's good to get out on the road and just lock in the us against the world mentality. Just talk about taking the guys on the road and playing Braves football.
We have 4 games on our schedule that was in the state of Louisiana, and this is another one that's going to be in the state of Louisiana. For the Tulane game, we had a lot of fans that come out and showed us support for our program and for this university. And that's the biggest thing that we are excited about when we go on the road and where we travel. We're going to have a lot of fans to travel with us. And that's the excitement that we get as a team, to see the stands full of purple and gold, to show their faces up in different places. So we had a lot of fans down in Tulane. We'll have a lot of fans in Lake Charles this weekend. So we're excited about traveling on the road. It seems like sometimes it's a whole lot easier to travel on the road than it is to play at home, So, but the kids, they love it. The same scenario, love to play at home too as well. You get a chance to sleep in your own bed, but really just being on the road, seeing the fans there, and just the environment the kids experience that they get playing on the road.
Thank you, sir. Have a blessed week.
Thanks.
Coach McNair, as always, we appreciate your time. We look forward to speaking with you again next week.
All right, thank you, guys.
Thank you. Next, we'll be joined by Bethune-Cookman head coach Terry Sims. You see Coach there with us. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Coach, as always, we appreciate you taking some time to join us. If you would please start us out with an opening statement about your team's most recent outing versus South Carolina State.
Had a tough football game against a great football team. It was a good game, a close game. I thought, 3/4 of the game. We had some costly turnovers. Our quarterbacks threw a couple of interceptions. We let their running game take advantage of us a little bit throughout the end of the game. So it's kind of hard when you're not putting yourself in position to stop the run against a football team like South Carolina State. And, they have a salty defense, and they put some pressure on us a little bit. We made some plays, but I don't think we made enough of the plays that we were supposed to make or that we needed to make to win the game. But, taking nothing away from them, South Carolina State is a great football team, a great coach team, a lot of great athletes. I thought it was a great battle. Like I said, up until the end of the game when things kind of just started reeling on us and got out of hand. But, again, our guys didn't quit. We just let a few too many plays get out of the gate on us. They had 5 explosive plays, and I think they scored on 4 of them. So that's kind of tough when that happens.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach Sims. We'll now open it for questions. First question goes to James Hill.
Hey, Coach, I hope you and the Wildcats Nation are well. Talk about Jones. He was able to go 8 of 23 for 127. And just talk a little bit about Jones. He also had a good rushing game.
Yeah, Jalen did a great job rushing the football. Had a couple of costly interceptions that I'm sure he wished he could have back. But as far as managing the game and moving the ball up and down the field, he did that for us. And, we know we have in Jalen, and he's going to continue to get better and continue to master this offense. And I think, here in a couple of weeks, he'll be definitely something to be reckoned with.
Coach, shifting gears, you move forward, you get another opportunity this weekend. Just talk about moving forward and doing things the Wildcats way.
Well, we got a guaranteed win this week. We're gonna play open, so we'll definitely be in good shape this weekend. We're gonna go back to our basics, go back to square one, and start with our install and doing things we did in camp, and use it to get guys healthy and try and grow some young guys up a little bit during this time, and get ready for Grambling in 2 weeks.
Coach, when you have a bye and you have a little extra time, just talk a little bit about taking advantage of that extra 7 days, if you will.
Well, I think you take advantage of it, just the way I just said it, and people do it different ways. But we have to go back to our fundamentals. We have to go back to blocking and tackling, and just the little things that you teach in your everyday drill. We'll put a little bit more emphasis on that. Go back to our base plays and make sure we have a grasp on that stuff, and work a little bit more on special teams. We put a lot of energy into special teams, but during the off week, you'll have a little bit more time to invest in that, and we will. And we have to get some guys healthy. No one has any serious injuries, but it is football. Guys have bumps and bruises, and we'll use this time to get some guys healthy and also get some, down the line guys some reps.
Thank you, sir. Have a great week.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Dr. Cavill.
Good morning, Coach Simmons.
Doc, how you doing?
Doing well, Dr. Cavill, inside the HBCU Sports Lab for the record. Wanted to ask you, in terms of that matchup, for the first half, it was really nip and tuck, very tough, hard fought, kind of got away late in the third quarter. But statistics-wise, you were able to put up, similar yardage, total yardage on the team. So how do you move forward to maybe turning that yardage into more points from field goals to touchdowns?
Well, I think we have to do just what I talked about. They had a lot of explosive plays, 5 explosive plays. The difference in us and them during this game, they scored on 4 of those explosive plays. We had some explosive plays. We got ourselves in the red zone a few times. We just did not capitalize. So I think that's the biggest thing. We have to make sure that we're putting the ball in the box and we get that close. We have to come away with something. That's something that we're emphasizing big time. That's something that we're talking to our guys about every day. We have to finish what we started. We have to finish drives. And that's something that I think that they understand now. We can't take anything for granted. We can't overlook anything or feel like we've arrived because we're far from it.
Follow-up question is, as you said, the open weekend. And a couple of programs have had open weekends this early in the season. So I've asked this question in regards, I want to get your perspective on it. When do you start preparing for your opponent that comes the following week, which happens to be Grambling, which is another home game? And is there a such thing as preparing too early? What does that look like specifically for your program, preparing for your opponent in the middle of an open week?
Honestly, we started last night. And that's kind of the way we do it. We come in on Sundays, we watch our game film, we make our corrections, we go out with our players and make the corrections. Then we have a soft intro of the team, and what we'll do this week is introduce things on their offense, defense, and special teams a little slower. Take a little bit more time in dissecting the film and making sure that our guys have the fine points down. Because Grambling's a great football team. Watching them on film, Coach Jackson has done a great job overhauling that roster and putting some guys in place there. So, we have our work cut out for us. But I think having an open week will give us some more time to put things together and come up with great game plans to go in and take advantage of this battle.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Mr. Andrew Roberts, do I have time for an additional question, or are we up again?
Yes, sir.
Coach Sam, one follow-up question over your coaching experience, have you been a more success when you have that open week coming back from a game versus obviously being able just a normal week-to-week preparation?
You know, I've had to learn some lessons over the years, both being an assistant and a head coach. We've had some success in preparing for games, but you know, like you said, some people do say, well, maybe you have too much time, you're over preparing, you're creating more problems than are really there. And
Right.
you have to fight yourself and make sure that the guys don't get, you know, too overwhelmed with what you're giving them and the things that you're trying to get them to understand, or you don't want them to come into the game flat. You know, so we think we found a great mix. Our open weeks for the last, you know, 5 or 6 years have been the same. It works for us here, and I think that's the main thing. You have to do things that work for you.
Coach, good luck as you move forward. Thank you for sharing that perspective.
Yes, sir.
Final question goes to Kendrick Marshall.
Hey, Coach. Your program unfortunately has lost 11 of the last 13 games over the last year. What signs have you seen or hope to see that your ball club will or can turn the corner?
We'll turn the corner. I mean, I don't know what those 11 games you're talking about. I don't count last year. Last year's gone. But we have lost our first 2 games, and what we're doing is continuing to work. I don't believe you can allow the past to affect your future. So we can't allow the games from last week, the week before last, or definitely not last year to affect what we're doing now. We have won around here. We know how to win. We know how to prepare. We have a process, and all we have to do is continue to follow that, and things will be turned around.
All right, Coach, quick follow-up to that. What have you seen so far that kind of gives you that hope that you guys will turn around?
The football team that I see every day, the work that these guys put in, the way they prepare, the attention to detail that they have. Like I said, it's, you know, football is a funny game. You have things that happen. You have explosive plays that sometimes turn games around, but we have what it takes to win football games, and we will get there.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Coach Sims, as always, we appreciate your time and look forward to speaking with you again next week.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we'll be joined by Florida A&M head coach Willie Simmons. We'll be back momentarily. We do appreciate your patience. We are attempting to get Coach Simmons here on our Zoom session. We'll be back momentarily. All right, I do see Coach Simmons in the waiting room here. We'll get him admitted. Hey, good morning, Coach.
Hey, good morning.
Coach, as always, we appreciate you taking some time to join us on our media session. Coach Simmons, if you would please start us out with an opening statement about your team's most recent victory over Albany State.
Well, obviously, excited to get a win. Really needed it after 2 early season losses. Need to get some morale back, and coming back home to Brad Memorial Stadium, great atmosphere. I thought the student section was electric the entire night, and I thought that we took on a really tough Albany State football team, the defending SIAC champs, and so knew they would come in and play hard. They brought a big crowd down here with them, and it was a 4-quarter football game. But our guys did enough to win. We didn't play perfect football, but did enough to win defensively. Thought we played really well, kind of found our identity. Hopefully we can maintain that. Special teams offensively did enough to win, but a lot of areas to improve upon. So bye week comes out a great time for us to get back to some basics, some fundamental football. We have a long 8-week stretch against some really tough opponents, starting with Alabama A&M. So definitely have to be ready to play.
Thank you for those comments, Coach Simmons. Just a quick reminder to our media, please limit your questions to one question and a follow-up due to time constraints. With that being said, first question, we'll go to James Hill.
Hey, Coach. Good morning, sir. I hope you are well. Jeremy Musa, 16 of 29 for 230, 1 touch, 1 pick. Francis got in the game, he scored, and then also you look at Xavier. Smitty played well. Just talk a little bit about the second quarter and the victory you guys were able to earn on the highest of 7 hills.
Yeah, I thought Xavier played a lights out football game. He showed why he's one of the best wide receivers in America. Made a ton of big plays and had a great touchdown catch there from Jeremy in the second quarter. Jeremy had a kind of roller coaster game. Had some really good moments, threw some really nice passes. But we had about 4 or 5 that I know he wished he could have gotten back. The interception there, had a guy running wide open for a post ball that he underthrew. Had a couple other big play opportunities that he underthrew. Had a couple of first down movers that he short on a little bit. So for him, I think just not pressing. I think for him, he's a perfectionist, and he's trying to make the perfect play as opposed to just trusting the ability that he has. He's more than capable of making those throws. We've seen him make them since he got here. We saw him make them on his high school and college film. So he'll make those throws as the season progresses. Just got to get him settled down to just know that every throw doesn't have to be perfect, just to relax and have fun playing the game. But it was good to get DeAndre Francis in. He's a guy that has a lot of big playability. So with the top 3 backs all being out, Jay McLeod getting hurt during the game, really was good for the freshman to step up and have a big game. So got his first college touchdown, and hopefully that gives us some confidence to give us 4 capable running backs for the rest of the season.
Coach, going forward, just talk a little bit about your defense, and you get some time off, and then you guys move forward in terms of a bye.
Yeah, I thought the defense did a really good job, played assignment football, limited the big plays. Had a interception there, had a couple of, had a sack, and a couple of tackles for loss that kept them behind the chain. So I think they're finally understanding what type of defense we have to be, and hopefully we can continue that, because again, we'll have an explosive Alabama A&M offense coming in, not this week, but next week that we must be ready for. So again, the bye week comes at a great time, gives us a chance to get rested, gives us a chance to get back to some basic fundamentals, hopefully get a few more guys cleared, get caught up in recruiting, and then more than anything else, get these guys caught up academically.
Thank you, sir. Good luck going forward.
Next question goes to Brandon King.
Mute myself. Good morning, Coach.
Hey, good morning, Brandon.
All right, congratulations on the win this weekend. I know you mentioned in your post-game comments immediately after the game that you didn't play your best game, and you reiterated that here. As you look back, what did you learn about your football team on Saturday that you can build on from a positive and even a negative standpoint on things you can look to improve on as you move forward throughout the rest of the season?
Well, the positives is that when we do things the right way, we show we can be pretty dynamic in all 3 phases. So for us, it's about just committing ourselves to doing that, consistently. as coaches, demanding that and making sure that those things are happening during the week in practice. The negatives, some of our practice habits showed up on game day. There were some guys that weren't mentally locked in. I could see it in pregame, and it showed by the way they played. But all in all, I wasn't pleased with the overall effort. I didn't think we played with the level of effort and intensity that has come to be known as our brand of football. So definitely got to figure out what we need to do to get them back to playing at the high level, because you can make some mistakes, you can drop a pass, you can miss a tackle, but the effort has been at a premium. And for the second week in a row, we just haven't had that mentality that we've become accustomed to around here.
Thank you, Coach.
Next question goes to Dr. Ville.
Dr. Ville's inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Good morning, Coach Simmons.
Good morning, Doc.
Coach had a chance to watch the game, HBCU go. Albany State got out there and had a great drive to start the game. And for a lot of folks that are not experienced like yourself, kind of get nervous. But your team defensively, the rest of the game really basically shut them out until that late drive. And I'm sure you had a lot of subs in the game to give them some playing time. But talk about what your defensive team was able to get done against Albany State, one of the top ranked teams at the Division II level overall, and specifically HBCU football.
Yeah, I think it's something about playing here at Bragg that our defense takes great pride in. Last year we gave up 4.7 points a game at home. This first home game, it was a 7-point game until like that last drive where they were able to punch one in. But again, I think defensively we're coming into our own, really understanding who we are. When you lose a Marquise Bell, Savion Williams, some really good players, sometimes you think you can just plug a guy in and do the same things. Well, that's not necessarily the case. So we've had to tweak some things on that side of the ball to take advantage of our strengths and try to cover up some of our shortcomings. So again, the defensive staff has done a great job of adjusting after 2 subpar weeks, and hopefully we've kind of figured out who we are. We can continue to grow that this week and next week. So the next time we take the field against A&M, we're able to play at that same high level.
My follow-up question is about the open week. A couple of programs have had a chance to interview coaches happen to have open week this week as well. So I've kind of had this reframe of a question. So I'd ask you just to get your perspective on it. When do you start preparing for your opponent since you have an open week? And is there a such thing with your experience?
Got to cut off the last part of your question, Doc.
Sorry about that. The last part was, is there a such thing where you can start preparing for your opponent too early?
Yeah, I think that's I think it's all relative, right? We have some things obviously that we have to fix about us. We played 3 games. Typically you do a 4-game self-scout, but after having played 3 games, we have enough to really look introspectively at what we're doing.
Okay.
Are we giving away too many tendencies? Personnel-wise, we have the right guys in the right positions. And so we're really going to spend much of this week on us. And then as we get closer to next Sunday, we'll focus our attention more on Alabama A&M. They play another game this week. They've only played 2 so far, so we want to give them a chance to get another game that we can study and kind of get an idea. Facing a new defensive coordinator, obviously same offensive staff. So our defensive staff will be on a different time frame than our offensive staff, because I have a lot more film to watch because again, it's the same coordinator. So, but we'll take most of this week to focus on us, fundamentally. And then it gives our young guys a chance to get a lot of really good reps in practice who haven't really played a whole lot. So that's really our focus as far as the football side. Play some young guys, get some guys rested up and healthy, get back to some basic fundamentals. And then as the week progresses and we get closer to Sunday, then really start to shift our focus to Alabama A&M.
Thank you, Coach, for sharing that perspective. Good luck moving forward.
Appreciate it.
Coach Simmons, as always, we appreciate your time, and we look forward to speak with you again next week.
Thank you, guys. Y'all be blessed.
Thank you. Next up, happy to be joined by Grambling State head coach Hugh Jackson. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Coach, if you would start us out with an opening statement about your team's most recent outing over Northwestern State.
I was glad to see our team bounce back and get in the win column. Guys worked hard heading into that game. So I thought they really did some good things during the game. We corrected some of our wrongs from the week before. Obviously, it's one win, and obviously we're excited about it, but we're trying to do everything we can to just keep moving forward and keep getting better.
Appreciate those comments, Coach. Want to open up the floor for questions for Coach Jackson. First question goes to Charles Bishop.
Good morning, Coach. How are you doing?
Doing great.
Congratulations on your first collegiate victory.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask, you guys had a real breakout quarter there in the second quarter. If you can just kind of quickly recap the play of Maurice Washington and your quarterback as well.
Yeah, no, I thought Maurice did a really good job. He hit the hole fast and good, but more so than that, I thought the offensive line did a great job of creating opportunities for him in those two runs that he had. The quarterback played steady. He was very consistent in the first half, so that's why I think you see the output of points at that particular point in time. We got to become a little bit more consistent as we continue to play. But I was just excited to see the things that we've been harping on, preaching on, starting to happen at a high level.
Quick follow-up question, Coach. Huge matchup with Jackson State this weekend. They've yet to give up a touchdown thus far, first couple games of the season. What is it that you see in regards to this defensive Jackson State has?
I know they're good. I mean, obviously, they were good last year. I think they're good this year. They got really good personnel. They know how to play. They do a great job schematically. It'll be a tall challenge, but we're excited about the opportunity to play.
Sure thing. Thank you, Coach.
Next question goes to Matt Bielenson.
Morning, Coach. How are you doing?
Doing good.
You mentioned your quarterback, obviously coming into fall camp, there was a quarterback battle at that position. I'm curious, 2 games in, obviously, like you mentioned, you want to get some more consistency going forward. I'm curious, where did you see that quarterback battle really take a shift, in Corterius's, favor as you got closer to the season?
Well, I thought it really took a shift in the first game. He obviously had to go out with an injury, but I thought, when we put him out there, he was our starting quarterback. So I felt very comfortable with that. Obviously, he played much better this past week, and hopefully he'll continue to grow as we go through the season.
Quick follow-up on that. I'm curious, what has been Coach Kincaid's role in obviously, getting that position, a little bit more stable as the season's gone on? I'm curious, what have you seen from him as you obviously, brought him into this role, back to Grambling?
No, he's done a great job. He tries to do everything he can to create the environment for our quarterbacks to learn and grow fundamentally and through our system. So I really lean on him when it comes to our quarterbacks.
Thanks.
Next question goes to Mia Berry.
Hi, Coach. How are you?
Doing well.
Good. Last week, we kind of discussed you keeping an eye out on everything happening in Jackson. Has a final decision been made going to play at Jackson this week?
I have not heard anything different to this date. So I think we will be there and we'll play there.
Okay, that's all I had. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Zach McKinnell.
How you doing, Coach?
Doing well.
Your defense was able to force a few turnovers this weekend and really play some great football against a good offensive-minded team. Can you speak to some of the young guys who really stepped up this week for your defense that have stood out to you and the coaching staff?
Well, I think just as a whole, I hate to pinpoint any one player, but I thought as a defense, we stepped up our game. I thought we played with more effort, with more toughness, with more awareness. We need to continue to do so. I think we're just starting to scratch the surface of how good we can be. But I thought as a whole, all the young players and the veteran players, when you see Joshua Reed, return a fumble for a touchdown, as you mentioned, young player, Kevin Thomas has a touchdown. Has a interception. That was great for us. But again, I just think as a whole, as a defense, we're just trying to get better.
And a quick follow-up. Throughout your first 2 games, you play a tough FBS opponent and then a big out-of-conference game against the Southland squad. What has been I would say, 1 or 2 things that you have learned most about your team throughout these first 2 weeks against some pretty good competition?
I think the first game, we were kind of, surprised at the game. And I won't say from a coaching staff or players that started to go, we didn't play well as we thought we could. And I thought watching our team bounce back, I was very excited about that because that's what you like to see. Go from week 1 to week 2, see improvement, and watch the guys really hone in on the things that you're preaching each and every day, and better at it. And I thought we did that. Now we need to take the next jump, and that's what we're looking forward to.
Next question goes to Jim Klein-Peter.
Hi, Coach. I was wondering if your path during your NFL career ever crossed with Deion Sanders, and do you know him well or have any other associations with him?
No, I know Deion well. I've coached against him. He's a personal friend. We've spoken several times. I have nothing but the utmost respect for him as a former player, coach now. He's done a great job there at Jackson State. Obviously, they're one of the best teams in the conference. And so I have nothing but great respect and admiration for him.
And a second question, while you were considering the Grambling job, did you reach out to Deion and ask him about coaching in the SWAC or talk to him a little bit about what to expect?
I didn't do that before the job. I talked to the job. There's no question about that. And he's been great. You know, obviously he has a wealth of knowledge and experience. Now I haven't done it in this conference and gave me some pointers on some things to consider and look for. And I'm just thankful to have somebody like that, him and Eddie George, that you can talk to about those things.
Thank you.
Quickly try to get to 2 more questions. Next question goes to James Hill.
Hey, Coach, I hope you and the guys are well, the G-Men. Your ground attack was in full effect, and so was your air game. Just talk about the success on offensive side of the ball for Grambling State University.
Things kind of, fed off of each other. I thought we were able to run the ball, which gave us a chance to throw the football, and we were able to make some plays. We had some very explosive plays in the game, and we need to continue to do that because that's how you win. So we know that we need to improve from one week to the next, and our guys are starting to get it and understand what we're trying to accomplish. So I'm looking forward to our guys continuing to grow as we move forward.
Coach, quick follow-up. This next game pits 2 of the best brands or biggest brands in HBCU when we look at Grambling State and Jackson State, and 2 of the best minds in Coach Prime and yourself. Just talk about this for the fans. They get a treat and they get to watch and kind of see what's going on.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think we head into this game, we're 1-1, they're 2-0. And like I said, Deion's done a great job, and we're trying to do everything we can to get our program back to where it should be. So it's going to be a heck of a matchup. They have a tremendous staff, really good players. I think I have a really good staff and some good players. And it's going to be a delight, I'm sure, for all fans to want to be a part of this and see this game.
Thank you, sir. Have a good one.
Last question goes to Dr. Cavill.
Dr. Cavill, inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Good morning, Coach. Yes.
Good morning.
I want to ask you a matchup. You talked about being prepared and having a good week of practice. What is the challenge of week to week having a good week of practice, trying to get that consistency?
Well, absolutely. The challenge could be you might have a few guys that might have to go to class, from time to time. From that standpoint, I've had to understand that there's times that it is academics first. That guys do have to go to class. But outside of that, we really try to keep the same routine for our players because I think our players really love routine. I know me as a coach does. I'm sure our players do. But for the most part, it's been pretty smooth thus far. But I do know that there will be times when academics will get in the way of some practice time.
Last quick follow-up. You've done this at the highest level. It seems like at the NFL, it's more about the players. At the college level, oftentimes, it can be about the coaches. Does that really mean anything in terms of preparation for a game, in terms of how the media covers a game week to week?
Oh, absolutely. I think, from us, we try to stay consistent as a staff with our planning and how we go about it. Obviously, the media coverage has been what it's going to be. I know everybody's going to make this a really big game, this week for Jackson State and for Grambling. But the most important thing for us is to continue to get better at the things we're doing and how we go through our process during the week. If we can cross the T's and dot the I's better, travel better, do all those things better, then we have a chance to play better. And that's what we're looking forward to doing.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck this week.
Thank you.
Coach Jackson, as always, we appreciate your time and we look forward to speaking with you again next week.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Next up, we're going to be joined by Coach Doc Gamble with Arkansas Pine Bluff. I do see Coach is with us. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Coach, if you could please start us out with an opening statement about your team's most recent victory over North America.
Well, we got another win that we're really happy about. We played a good team. A team that was gritty. They fought to the end. We were the better team, of course. The good thing about it was we were able to play a lot of young guys, and then the other good part about it, we was able to rest some guys. So it was a lopsided victory, and we'll take it. Now we're looking forward to the next one.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach Gamble. We'll now open up for questions for Coach. First question goes to Dr. Cavill.
Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Coach, good morning. How you doing, Coach Gamble?
Good morning. I'm good. How about for yourself?
I'm doing well. Your offense has put a lot of points up. What are you able to do well on the offensive side to get the momentum of being able to put up the points over the last couple of weeks?
Well, we've been good in each phase of it. We're running the ball well, and that's what we expect to do, and we're throwing it at a high percentage. We're completing the ball at a high completion rate. I'm sorry, which is always important for us. So we're hitting on all cylinders offensively, and that can happen when you got a veteran quarterback and he's really playing well. He's playing the way he should be playing, and we're playing good up front, and we're still coming along. Starting to develop a good crew of guys outside, and we got a good stable of running back. So we've been able to hit on all cylinders here the last couple of weeks.
In terms of the next matchup, you move up to a Power 5 institution. Various coaches go into these games in various perspectives. What are your perspective in terms of how you attack playing up in terms of a Power 5 institution?
Well, we always tell the guys, it's about to come down, and they got 85 scholarships, we got 63, but they still put on their pants the same way we do, one at a time, one leg at a time. As long as we don't get caught up into the letters, I always say, was it the Big 12, Big 10, the SEC, you don't get caught up into the letters and then the facilities of all those things, then you got a chance, we got to go play. I can always refer back to last year's game against the Razorbacks. At times we looked like we were the Power 5 football team, at certain positions. So, we'll know that those guys look forward to the game, and we're looking forward to the game as a staff, and our expectations doesn't change.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck this weekend.
All right, thank you.
Next question goes to James Hill.
Hey, Coach, I hope you and everybody in Pine Bluff are well. When you look at your Golden Lions, you guys are playing well and you set the foundation for winning. Just talk a little bit about what you see so far in Mr. Perry and Mr. Britton and Mr. Prince.
They're playing at the level that we expect them to play at, and think about it, they practice at that level as well, and it's carrying over to the game. So those guys are some good football players, the three that you even mentioned. And the thing about it is the other guys are coming around and playing at their level too. They're doing things by example, the way they prepare each week, and it's helped bringing all the other guys along with them.
Coach, last year you went into Fayetteville. This year you guys will go see the Cowboys at Oklahoma State University. Just talk a little bit about playing up and just trying to maintain health and play the game that you like to play.
Well, we're going to show up to go play, and I know the thing about the big thing I say about with these guys is they know how to put up points. They got a lot of creativity offensively, and then they play at a fast pace, as far as getting the ball snapped, getting the ball in play. For us is that we got to be able to play at that speed and not be overwhelmed by the game day environment, and we just got to show up and play and knowing that, what I really like about it too is that we got a ton of guys that think they should be playing at that level. We've recruited some guys who did get recruited by those guys and at that level. So, this is their chance to put on display of, to see if we belong or not.
Thank you, sir. Have a great week.
All right, thank you.
Next question goes to Zach McKinnell.
How you doing, Coach?
I'm good. How about yourself?
Not too bad. My question comes, you had 2 home games to open up the season. Now you go through a tough 3-game road stretch traveling to Oklahoma State, Southern, and Alcorn State. Can you speak to some of the challenges that presents to you and your team and how you're preparing your team to go on the road 3 back-to-back weeks and some really, really big games for you guys?
Well, that's another good thing about playing this week here. It's going to teach us how to travel, and be sharp on how we have to do things while on the road, So that's another thing for this week that I'm looking forward to is it's a new first time for us to get off campus. And then we got to know that the next few weeks after this one, next couple of weeks after this one, we'll be off campus as well. So it's going to teach everybody in our whole organization on how we need to do things and how sharp we have to be. It's just not for, the players to get ready, but it's for everybody that's involved with our travel party on how we need to do things in preparation for, our road games.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck.
Thank you.
Next question goes to IC Morrell.
Coach Gamble, how you doing, sir?
I'm good. How about for yourself?
Yeah, very well, sir. Hey, look, you're going into Boone Pickens Stadium, and that's like 50-something thousand people. So, I know you fielded some questions about, playing up a competition, but what about the environment? What about, getting your team to settle down and being able to compete in an arena with 50-something thousand people? Now, you did that last year with Arkansas. How will you work with the guys on settling in to that type of environment?
Yeah, it might be 50-some thousand in the stands, but only 22 can play. So that's the only thing that needs to be. That's the only thing we'll worry about is, our 11 versus their 11 on any given snap. So, we'll look forward to it, and it'll be a great day. Hopefully we can get up to the school, their school early, so we can the guys can see the place, and then we hunker in on our game plan and be ready to go out and execute it.
How much are you concerned about the speed of play that Oklahoma State may present?
That's always, I believe that, every level that you play, the speed of the game changes a little bit. But to me, we have to play at our max speed, and then if our max speed have to be good enough. And if it's not, then, then they're just a better team. But, we got to play at our max speed. And whatever our max speed is, we got to be doing it all the time.
Thank you very much.
Coach Gamble, as always, we appreciate your time, and we look forward to speaking with you again next week.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Joined by Coach Dancy with Mississippi Valley State. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning. How you doing?
Doing great, Coach. Coach, as always, we appreciate your time. If you could please start us out with an opening statement about your team's most recent outing.
I thought we didn't play well. We started had a slow start, gave up big plays on defense and just couldn't execute offensively. I thought we drove the ball down early, got it in the red zone. We just didn't make the plays. I thought we could have made a few plays in the red zone, and we dropped a few balls. We missed the field goal, and that first half was just a difficult first half for us. And defensively, that second half, we came out, we shut them out. The second half, didn't allow them to score. Offensively, we continued to struggle. So we just have to figure it out offensively. I still think we have a good football team, and this week is going to be a test for us as well.
Appreciate those comments, Coach. We'll now open up for questions for Coach Dancy. First question goes to James Hill.
Coach, I hope you and everybody in the Delta are well. Just talk a little bit about those first couple games, getting out on the road and playing in hostile environments, so to speak.
I think it's good for our football team. I think it's good for our team. We've been able to go out and play two good football teams that we really can take a lesson from, can come back and learn from. I think it's taught us that we got a lot of work to do, and it starts at practice. It starts we don't win on Saturday. We win throughout the week. So I thought it was good lessons learned from those two games, and I really do think we will get better. I know moving forward we will be better, and we just got to we just have to figure it out, especially offensively. We have to figure it out, and that's what we're going to do.
Coach, I remember back in the day when I worked at a TV station in Mississippi, the Mississippi Valley and Delta State game, where it's a really rivalry game for the local fans. Just talk a little bit about that, and people in the Delta really look forward to this matchup.
Oh yeah, I remember those games as well. You're talking about a team 30 minutes down the road, and actually this is going to be their first home game as well. So it's going to be a big crowd. We look forward to it. Glad to be back home, getting off. And we just look forward to the challenge. It's a well-coached football team. Coach Cooley's going to have his team well coached as he normally has. Disciplined team that's going to play hard, and we know we have a challenge ahead of us.
Thank you, sir. Have a blessed week.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Next question goes to Kendrick Marshall.
Yeah, Coach. Throughout the first 2 games of the season, your quarterbacks have combined not to pass for 100 yards in either of the games. What is it going to take for you to get some more consistency out the position?
Oh man, that's a good question. That's what we're working on, man. We're just not playing well at that position right now. But then again, I thought this week we had a lot of opportunities. We missed a lot of we dropped a lot of balls. Some opportunity that we gave young men to, and put them in situations that we could have scored. We just dropped passes, and somehow we have to correct those mistakes and be better at that position, because we won't win if we're not good at that position. I think we got not only 2 quarterbacks, but 3 right now in-house that can, get the job done. So right now we're going to go out this week and have a quarterback carousel, and we're going to let the best man who practiced well this week open up with Delta State this weekend.
All right, as a quick follow-up, I believe before the season started, it was announced that there was some work being done at the stadium. Has that work been completed? And if so, what do you think about playing your first home game in a kind of revamped stadium?
I think that the work that's being done is being done on the track, not anything that's on the football field. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if work being done or not. We got to go out and execute and play a football game that and get in the win column. That's what we're looking forward to, not what's being done at the stadium. But it's work being done as we speak. But and they're actually resurfacing the track.
All right, thanks.
Yes, sir.
Next question goes to Dr. Cavill.
Dr. Cavill's inside the HBCU Sports Lab. How you doing this morning, Coach Dancy?
Doing good. How you doing, Doc?
Doing pretty good. Tough matchup against Austin P this weekend in terms of what your team was able to do totally. How much of the film do you look at that, or is that something that you throw away? How do you come back once you go through a game of that magnitude?
Oh, to watch it. Like I say, man, it's always lessons learned from a loss. It's a situation. It's no situation that I've never been in before. We just gotta learn how to respond from those losses. We took one, we took a tough one. And Austin P is a good team, a good, fast, physical football team that we played against. And I thought early on that doing pregame I could kind of see things didn't move right. Having to travel to the stadium early that day, getting the pregame a little later than I would like to. So it was a lot of things that I saw early on that I knew kind of we was gonna be a little sluggish. Like I say, I thought defensively we didn't play well early on. We gave up too many big plays, too many explosive. But after halftime, as you can see, we limited those guys to 0 points. They didn't score in the second half against us. And offensively, man, we just didn't execute. Like we moved the ball, on our first possession, and after that, it was all Austin P. So get those guys credit for having a good game plan and holding us to under really only 120 yards offensively. And that's not the way you want to go out and play a football game offensively. And like I say, we just have to get better. And I wanted to watch that game so we can see, what we need to work on and how we need to move forward going into this week. But we want to put it behind us. It's a 24-hour rule. we watched it yesterday, and the players got an off day today, and so we wanted to watch it and put it behind us.
With that, as you said, putting it behind you, moving forward to Delta State, unique FCS Division II matchup with the team in that region. You talked about how tough and things they do, particularly for Delta State. Things that you want to do specifically with the style of play that you want your team to be physical at the point of attack. What are the things that you need to get done offensively, defensively in this matchup to make it go?
Offensively, we got to move the ball. We have to execute. We got to play better at the quarterback position, and I think that's where it starts. Everybody know we can run the ball, but when the challenge is ahead, that teams know that we're going to run the ball. What can we do to execute in the pass game? And I think that's where we struggle. When people line 9 and 10 people up in the box, we got to be able to pass the ball, and we got to be able to make the plays when we pass the ball. I think that's what we have to do offensively. We have to get our passing game right, and we have to fix the quarterback position. Defensively, we just got to settle down and stop giving up the early big plays. I think we'll be just fine defensively. We get a few players back that we were missing last week, and I think we'll be just fine defensively. I thought, like I said, we made a few adjustments, not a lot of adjustments at halftime because it wasn't none to make. We were just giving up bonehead mistakes, hurting ourselves basically on defense. And once we settled in and we had a talk at halftime, our guys came out and played the way that I expected them to play on defense. We facing a good Delta State team, but it's nothing that I don't think that's too overwhelming for our guys. And I think we will be ready to play this team coming in this weekend.
Thank you, Coach.
Yes,
Good
sir.
luck this
Thank you.
weekend.
Yes, sir.
Next question goes to Zach McKinney.
How you doing, Coach?
Doing good.
Your D lineman Ronnie Thomas had a huge game, multiple sacks, multiple tackles for loss, was really disruptive in the backfield. Can you speak a little bit about his performance and his development at Valley?
Oh man, that's what we expect from Ronnie. Coming in, he was under recruited, coming out of East Central Community College, and we knew that he was an explosive kid, that he just needed to come in and work more fundamentally and develop more technique at the position. And he's been electric the past 2 games. He's able to rush the passer, but also be physical in the run game. And that's what we expect for him to get after the passer. But not only him, I thought Jalen Bell did a good job of being disrupted this weekend as well. With a few sacks and tackles for loss. But we got to continue that attitude and continue to play with that chip on our shoulder on defense, and just expect more great things from Ronnie as long as he's healthy.
And a quick follow-up about this week. You talked about another quarterback battle going through practices this week. How do you feel about a 2-3 quarterback system going into Delta State, or are you guys looking to run with the same guy all game next Saturday?
I'm not a fan of a 2-3 quarterback system. I would look like a guy that can come in and the players around him can develop some continuity, some chemistry, some leadership at that position. So like I said, this week we're going to go out and we're going to work all 3, and we're going to go with the best one. We had the best practice this week, but hopefully, like I said, man, we just and also we just got to make plays around, and we got to when the opportunity presents itself, these guys got to show up. And I didn't think that happened, not only at the quarterback position, but in a lot of other positions as well. So we got to make plays on the offensive side of the ball. And I'm positive about the situation. I think we'll pick it up. Got a lot of talent on this team. We just got to find a way to show that talent and execute when it's time to execute.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck this weekend.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Let's take one final quick question from Ty Miller.
Hey, Coach. Good morning to you. How are you?
Doing good. How are you doing?
I'm good, Coach. How much does your offensive line play have to do with the inconsistency at quarterback right now?
I don't think that's really the case. Thinking back the first game, not only allowing 2 sacks. Like I said, I just think it's the consistency at that position, being able to trust the guys that surrounding you, and fairly, only one new face at the receiver position being Ja'Cory Rankin, and that's a special kid, and we just got to find a way to get him the ball. But I think our offensive line play has been not
not been great, but it's not been bad. You know, we just got to find that consistency and start to execute, you know, the way we supposed to execute. You know, it's times at practice that we execute at a high level, but we get to the game, it seems like the moment may be too big for these young men. Like I said, all of them are new to the system, except one. So we just got to find a way to be more consistency and grab some type of continuity, not only from the quarterback position, but everybody that's surrounding the quarterback to help him be better as well.
Coach, I also know it's all about your team and how you play against Delta State that determines whether you win or not. But in their games against McKinney and before that Kentucky State, have you seen anything that may give you an advantage against them?
Advantage? No, I don't think so. The only advantage is going out there, you know, playing the game and execute like you're supposed to execute. But like I say, you know, Delta State has always had tradition. Delta State has always had a great program. And, you know, Coach Cooley is a great coach, and he's always going to have his guys up and ready to play a well-disciplined football team. I just think it's going to come down to, you know, both teams, you know, grinding it out to the last minute. And you know, whoever makes the least amount of mistakes will win the football game.
Okay. Thank you, Coach Dancy.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Dancy, as always, we appreciate your time. We look forward to speaking with you again next week.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Have a great one.
Thank you. Next up, happy to be joined by Coach McDowell with Prairie View A&M. First off, Coach, thank you so much for your patience. If you could, Coach, please start us out with an opening statement about your team's most recent outing versus Abilene Christian.
I'm really proud of those guys, man. As I told them at the end of the game, really proud of the way they played the game. We went into that game with a game plan offensively, defensively, and we executed a good game plan. Both sides, even special teams, you know, for 3 quarters. Our only downfall was, you know, we didn't win the 4th quarter. And as we always discuss, you know, as a team, as a unit, coaching staff, we got to be able to play 4 quarters of football. And you know, the best team is gonna that won that game is the one that played 4 quarters. I mean, they didn't do anything that different than what we planned for. It's just that we down that stretch of the 4th quarter, we just seemed like we just ran out of gas, you know, and they took advantage of it.
We'll open it up for questions for Coach. First question goes to Zach. Okay. Next question goes to James Hill.
I can't hear if anybody's asking questions. I can't hear anything.
Next question goes to James Hill. I believe he's on mute.
Coach, just talk a little bit about continuing to put your stamp on this football program and just continuing to grind it out the Prairie View A&M way.
Yeah, again, as a head coach, new head coach in this in the SWAC, you know, again, you know, it's not again me, and as it is about, you know, these young men doing what they're supposed to do on and off the field, and more importantly, our coaches. You know, we got a really good group of guys across the board. You know, be it offense, defensively, special teams, kids that want to play football. And want to win. So we as coaches, again, just got to figure out a way, continue to make sure these guys are on the right track, you know, and again, just figure out how to play 4 quarters of football. You know, we had 5 guys out defensively, and that may have played a role in the secondary, because down that stretch, you know, that's where we lost it. But again, we got to be able to figure out, you know, as coaching staff, you know, how to overcome that, you know, in situations like that. So, and I really believe that we, you know, with my coaching staff that we have here, a bunch of good guys, they coach, they butts off, put great game plans together, offensively, defensively, special teams. So, but now we just got to make sure that, you know, we still relaying it to these young men that, hey, it's about playing 4 quarters of football, you know, whether you're tired or not, or just being assignment perfect, you know, for 4 quarters of football.
Coach, in closing, great opportunity is for young student athletes to get an education. Can you just talk a little bit about that part of it?
Absolutely. We preach that all the time. We continue to monitor, not only we with our academic people over there, with these young men, as we told them, you got to be able to go and do what you're supposed to do off the field. And again, that's in the classroom. We say off the field in that classroom, because if you don't get it done there, you won't be able to showcase your talent on the field, and we've been doing a great job, again, just having these young men, getting these young men to buy into that, this year. And they've been doing such a great job at it. I'm really proud of them. We'll have a team meeting tonight after our little walkthrough, and then I'm gonna make sure I mention that to them, that I'm proud of them for them continue to do things the right way, because again, you guys know, it's all about, what football is not forever. We got to get this education thing implanted into these guys, early, so they know, if that football or whatever career doesn't work out sport-wise for them, they got that career to fall back on, whether it be at HBCU or any university.
Thank you, Coach. I wish you and your program a successful week.
Thank you, JH. Appreciate it.
Next question goes to Dr. Cavill.
Dr. Cavill, inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Good morning, Coach McDowell.
What's up, buddy? I'm
good. You talked about coming in with the game plan, and you flipped the script in a lot of ways. You ran heavy on Texas Southern, opened up the pass, and it worked really well for most of the quarter. Most of the game, really. In the second quarter, you weren't quite able to get in the end zone. But talk about the heady play of your team in terms of running back right before half, taking the knee so he can make sure they calling the timeout to set up a chance to go have the field goal with 1 second left in it.
Yeah, and those are things we talk about all the time, at practice, and in the film room. And again, those guys, they have to be smart guys, smart players out there on the field, as well as the coaches, and we always try to make sure they know what's going on throughout the course of the game, be aware of what's going on throughout the course of the game, in order to give us a chance, whether, to win the game, and it was a very, very smart play, and again, if you're not in tune to the game, it can cost you, later, or can cost you that game. So, and again, just getting these young men to study the game, know what's going on during the course of the game is again, just helps your team to be able to put yourself in position to win.
Also in the fourth quarter, you had a 4th and 5. You decided to not go with the field goal and go with the thing. Was that to give you confidence to your players, or is that alluding to the fact, as you said, having some players out on defense and understanding that it may be limiting in terms of how much you could continue to stop that, what many people see as a potent offense for Abilene Christian?
Yeah, defensively, I thought we handled them really well the whole game, and offensively, we were moving the ball. I wanted to see if we can get this first down, and then because I know if we got that first down, we was going to score, and defensively, we were playing so well up until that time, I didn't think they can go down the field and score on us. So again, but hindsight looking at it, I'm an old school type guy, back in the day, if you're going to get the point, take the points, I can promise you that won't happen again. So, we're going to take the points next time in that position, and again, back on it, and, it probably wouldn't have mattered anyway, being that we played poorly down the end, giving those 2 touchdowns up, but it may have given our guys a little bit more motivation, to sustain that lead. So, yeah, and I'll take the blame for that, as a head coach, but, first time head coach, learning, and we will get better.
No doubt about it. Thank you for being frank with the answer to that question, Coach. Look forward to next week's game. If I have time for a second question after that, I'll follow up in terms of your home game against Incarnate Word. Thank you, Coach.
We've got time for one more question. That question goes to Zach McKinney.
How you doing, Coach?
Hey, Zach.
You guys have a huge game this weekend against now number 6 Incarnate Word. What are some things that you've noticed about that team that are going to be big challenges for your team to overcome this weekend in this matchup?
Well, I think the biggest challenge for us, not to overcome, I think the biggest challenge for us is really just going out and playing 4 quarters of football. We have shown 2 games that we can match up with the best. And again, TSU is a team up and coming, ACU, team that we wasn't expecting to be that close with them throughout that game. But I know our guys. They're gonna come out. They're gonna compete. Just like they told me versus ACA, hey coach, we got your back. We got to play, and they did. They did it. They did it for 4 quarters, 3 quarters, 4 quarters. Same thing with. We just got to. We know what kind of offense they have. They, plus 55 points in the last 2 games. We got to go out and just take care of our assignment. We go out and do that. I think we'll be okay. So, like I said, we are very fast. We're very talented. So we just got to make sure that we're in position to make plays. And when those opportunities present itself, we got to come up with them to get the ball back to the offense.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck this weekend.
Coach McDowell, as always, we appreciate your time and we look forward to speaking with you again next week.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Next up, we're joined by Southern University head coach Eric Dooley. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning. How you guys doing?
Doing great. Coach, if you could please start us out with an opening statement about your team's most recent outing versus LSU.
Well, yeah, we had a chance to go against, of course, SEC opponent. Everybody, the biggest thing is talking about the stage. I didn't think that bothered our guys. We got off to a rough start. Anytime you have the opening kickoff and you fumble it, it gives those guys a short field to cash it in. And of course, in my opinion, they were looking for some form of confidence because they didn't play their best game the game before. But the guys, they kind of weathered the storm. The score didn't dictate that. But the one thing I do know about the Jaguars, they will fight for 60 minutes. And we had some encouraging things, when you take a look at it. But we had a lot of turnovers. And, when you have turnovers, I don't care what team you're facing, you can't win that game. But the encouraging part of it, we were able to cut down on our penalties. That's one thing we wanted to make sure we did. But, to establish a running game on a SEC team to rush for over 200 yards, I thought that was a plus. So some encouraging things, some things we can build on. How do you build off a loss? You got to take those things that you got to correct and get better for the next game. You just can't let LSU beat you twice.
Appreciate those comments, Coach Dooley. First question to Jim Klein-Peter.
Hi, Coach.
Good morning.
Yes, you talked about the offensive line. Has this been what you expected from them? It was probably the most experienced position group that you had coming back. Have they exceeded your expectations?
Well, that's always tough right there. I think they can go a little higher, but, they're very pleased, not satisfied with them to go against a defensive line of that magnitude right there and to hold up the way that they did. And then to create some running lanes. I mean, you got to be proud of those guys. And they're going to fight, though. The one thing, they're not going to quit. They're going to fight for 60 minutes.
Well, I know that the line had 3 starters back, and they went from a run-oriented offense to one that was going to have to protect the passer. Have they adapted in spending more time working on protecting the passer? Have they adapted there?
Absolutely. Well, it wasn't a huge adapt that they had to do. They didn't have to make a huge adjustment, I should say, because those guys are a great offensive linemen. So it's just a matter of just putting your scheme with those guys and working to get an opportunity to work your craft. And I think those guys done a great job with that.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Stephen Gaither.
Coach Dooley, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing great, doing great. Just talk about again, there was a lot of anticipation in the city, about this game and for it finally to happen. Just talk about, how you kept your guys grounded with everything, going on around them, all of the atmosphere, how you kept them grounded going into the game. And then I'll have a follow-up after that.
Well, they understand what we were talking about, what we were teaching and preaching. It's not about the opponent, it's not about how big the game is. It's a big game because it's the next game. It's a cliche, but that's something that we go by. And those guys, they understood what we were doing. They were just working to get better each game and knowing that it was going to be a challenge for us, but they accepted the challenge.
All right. And then secondly, at the end of the game, obviously, a long, hard fought game. Your guys came off the field and there was they were surrounded by supporters as they left the field. Just talk about for the morale of the team. Obviously, you want to win the game, but just having that support there, staying till the end and having someone to cheer them on, how much that meant to the program.
I thought it meant a great deal, for the City Jaguar Nation still there. No, we didn't have our best performance. No, it wasn't a winning performance. But for the Jaguar Nation to be there and stand tall and proud and to cheer those young men on, that just lets you know right there what type of fans that we have. That they're here. They're 100% blue and gold, and you gotta love that. That's one thing that I did mention in the locker room, that those guys our fans were still there waiting for us to come on with a cheering voice. So that's very, very pleasing.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Thank you.
Next question goes to James Hill.
Hey, Coach, I hope you and everybody in Jags Nation are well. When you guys step up and play a SEC opponent, just talk a little bit about how challenging it can be in terms of walking away healthy, the health aspect when you have a FBS and an FCS team play.
Well, you worry about those things, but you can't concentrate on that and focus on that right there, because at the end of the day, we have a strength and conditioning coach just like they do. And I think our strength and conditioning coach does a good job for us, preparing those guys, having those guys better shape in the best bodies in the best possible shape. So as far as what our young men have gone throughout the spring, the summer, and thus right now, we're very, very confident. This is a contact sport. That's not going to change. So we understood that, but to come out unscathed like that, it's a blessing.
Coach, next stop, Houston, Texas. Talk a little bit about going in and again, a great opportunity to play a great game.
Well, to play a great football team. You're talking about a team that played another FBS opponent, but was able to put up 27 points. We do understand what type of offense that they have, but I thought the defense stood tall as well. So we know it's going to be challenging. My message won't ever change. I think we got the best conference in the world, so we know every game is going to be very, very challenging regardless of who we play.
Thank you, sir. Have a great week.
Thank you. You too.
Final question goes to Dr. Bill.
Coach Dooley, you've been in a unique situation where you've taken Prairie up to Texas A&M, SEC, and now Southern across Baton Rouge, if you would, in terms of LSU. You already talked about the game being physical. So I want to get into you moving to Southern up there in Arlington and playing Texas Southern University, a team that has seemed to be able to put together on the offensive side of the ball. What's the challenge now in a conference matchup?
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that, but you say that we had the opportunity to play Texas A&M. I'm a young man that feel to believe that God prepares me for everything that's going to come in my life. So he prepared me for a time such as I just not went through. So to understand how to have that team ready and to move forward to continue to play within conference play. Because when you talk about a Texas Southern team, we know that they're going to be very, very exciting. I saw some great things of what those guys are doing. So my mindset from the start, it wouldn't matter who we're playing. This conference is very, very exciting and challenging. So we got our work cut out, but we'll be up for challenge.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck this weekend.
Thanks.
Take one more quick question from Jim Kleinpeter.
Yeah, Coach, Andrew Body, you've seen him up close. You saw him last year. He's a year older. What do you think about him, and what do you expect from him this week?
Well, I expect a great deal. I didn't get a chance to go against Andrew Body last year. At that time, he didn't play, but I did see a lot of tape on the young man. He's a great young man, a great quarterback, very exciting quarterback. He's what you call a guy that can beat you with his legs as well as his arms. So he's a guy that right now got a lot more experience, surrounded by some great athletes. So we understand the challenge coming into this game right here. We just got to play assignment sound football.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Julie, as always, we appreciate your time and we look forward to speaking with you next week.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Next up, we are joined by Texas Southern head coach Clarence McKinney. Do see Coach is there with us. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Coach McKinney, if you could please start us out with an opening statement about your team's most recent outing at North Texas.
Yeah, we took a trip up north to North Texas, played a FBS team. Thought we came out early and played really, really well. Much improved from the previous week. And later in the game, their physicality, size, and things of that nature kind of took a toll on us, and came out on the losing end of the stick.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach McKinney. First question goes to Dr. Cavill.
Dr. Cavill's inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Coach McKinney, your offense was able to get going in this matchup. You did a lot of things positively. How do you think that helps you as you move forward?
It gives us a lot of confidence, to be able to go out there against a FBS team and put up the points and the numbers that we did. Is something that we'd like to build upon.
Second question, you're going back up to Arlington to play Southern. You had success against them, winning a thriller game last year, but now you're into your second conference game of the year. What are your thoughts in terms of what you see from the film against Southern this weekend?
Yeah, this is a totally different Southern team than last season. So we know Coach Dooley is going to do a great job and have his guys ready to go. I think our league is about as balanced as any other league. And I think it comes down to the team that makes the fewest amount of mistakes. We're a great team, and we want to put forth a great effort and see what happens.
Thank you, Coach McKinney. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Jim Klein-Peter.
Yeah, Coach. Andrew struggled in his first outing this year. Did you see a step up in improvement? Did he have a better grasp this week? Did you like what you saw with him?
Yeah, we thought he played a lot better in the second week than we saw him in the first week. It's just a matter of growing pains, maturing, and the guys around him getting better and making plays when he needs them to make plays. So fortunately enough for us, this past weekend, we had some guys other than Andrew that stepped up and made a few plays.
Mm-hmm. And what do you see as the biggest difference in this Southern team that from last year? I know they got Coach Dooley's there with his up-tempo passing game, but is there a little more to it than that?
Well, that's probably the biggest difference that you see on the surface. But they do an extremely good job defensively. They're sound in the game, and Coach Dooley's going to spot the ball and play fast and try and score a lot of points. So it's a huge difference from this season and last season.
Thank you.
Next question goes to James Hill.
Hey, Coach, I hope you're well. This particular game versus Southern, as you guys meet in Arlington, just talk about how this game can affect the standings in the West and why it's so important.
It's very important as far as the standings go in the West. We've already lost one West game, and for us, it would put us down 2, and we wouldn't like to be down 2. So we're trying to stay in the mix of the West championship, and so if we're going to do that, this is a game that we got to step up and play this ball.
Coach, 3 phases of the game: offense, defense, and special teams. Just talk a little bit about your football team in those 3 phases, please.
Yeah, I think offensively we showed improvement from week 1 to week 2. I think our greatest improvement from a team standpoint came within our special teams game. I think we did a really good job of covering and protecting our punter and pride in being members of the special teams unit. And I think defensively, we played a much bigger, stronger opponent, but and they competed from the opening whistle to the final whistle. So I think as a team, we've improved in all 3 phases from week 1 to week 2.
Thank you, sir. Have a great week.
And you do the same.
Take another question from Jim Kleinpeter.
Yeah, Coach, you faced Coach Dooley when he was at Prairie View last year. You've seen this offense before. What do you do to prepare for to get your team ready for the pace and the up tempo?
Well, we practice fast, and so our offense is up tempo. Coach Dooley's offense is up tempo. So I think our guys defensively have some experience of going against each other in practice and playing at a faster pace. So we're kind of used to it.
What did you see? What are your thoughts on the Southern offensive line? They look they're solid, and it seems like they have a good one every year.
Yeah, they're huge, on both sides of the ball in the lines, and so we know they're gonna be physical. We've got our work for us, and you're gonna see two quality teams after it and playing some really good football.
Thank you.
Currently taking questions for Coach McKinney with Texas Southern. Next question goes to Stephen Gaither.
Hey, Coach McKinney, how you doing today?
Yeah, I want to see you.
Doing well, doing well. You talk about them being physical and size on both sides. Obviously, they've got a young man, Jordan Lewis, who's one of the best pass rushers in the FCS, a former Buck Buchanan Award winner. Just talk about going up against him and trying to keep him away from Mr. Body as much as possible, and just the problems that he presents.
Yeah, he's a problem. He's, if not the best pass rusher in our conference, he's top two, and so we definitely have to build without giving away our game plan. We're gonna try and block him as best we can, and hopefully keep him away from Andrew.
Appreciate it.
We have time for one more question for Coach McKinney with Texas Southern. We'll have a final question for Coach. Coach McKinney, as always, we appreciate your time. We look forward to speak with you again next week.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. All right, we are a minute or so ahead of schedule for Jackson State, but next we'll be joined by Coach Sanders. Actually, we do have Coach with us. Good morning, Coach.
How you doing, everybody?
Doing great, Coach. Coach, as always, thank you so much for taking some time out of your schedule to join us. If you would please start us out with an opening statement about your team's most recent outing versus Tennessee State.
Wonderful classic, the Heritage Classic. Eddie George, unbelievable. What he's doing with that program is phenomenal. He's a dear friend. I love him to life. His kids fought their butts off. That's a whole different team than which we played a year ago. Defensively, we're stout. We went out there and did what we needed to do. Offensively, we moved the ball up and down the field, but we couldn't get it in the end zone. And that is a tribute to Coach George and some of the mistakes we made as well. The kicking game was phenomenal, superb. We won, but we're dissatisfied because there's a certain standard, there's a certain level. So we're going to take it. We got it on the practice field Sunday, corrected some of the mistakes, allowed some of the young men that didn't play 60% of the snaps to get a lot of reps on a Sunday. And we gave them yesterday off. Now we're back in today off, I'm sorry. Now we're back in the lab getting the game plan together.
Appreciate those comments.
Excuse me.
Those comments, Coach. We'll now open it up for questions for Coach Sanders. First question goes to Charles Bishop.
Good morning, Coach. How you doing?
How you doing, sir?
I wanted to ask about a newcomer to the roster, Sivion Wilkerson. He had a big game in terms of he rushed for 81 yards, but he brought a different dynamic in terms of running in between the tackles in this game.
He's a banger. I didn't even know the kid was until a couple weeks later in camp. And I'm like, who is this dude? And banging, hitting it, not blowing any plays. Just he takes what you give him, but he has a physicalness and a mental toughness to him, and I love it. It's a different dynamic. As you know, 38 special. I love him what he brings, but we had a couple fumbles back to back, and We had 2 fumbles by the same back in 2 consecutive games. So when you have a couple fumbles back to back, any coach in their right mind is gonna get them out of there. So you sit over and watch for the rest of this game, and you get to see what this thing is like. He had a phenomenal game. He got a little winded, but he's gonna be ready to go.
Quick follow-up, Coach. Thus far, this defense is already leading the nation in sacks. Small sample size, but have they met your expectations coming in, or have they exceeded it thus far?
I'm not going to say exceeded. I have tremendous expectations. You got to understand we're playing with our 3 starters on the defensive side of the ball right now. So these guys are really taking it upon themselves to play at a certain level so that they could stay in when these starters back to being healthy. Coach Thurman, I've been saying this for a couple of years now. Coach Thurman is one of the best in the business, and you guys don't give him enough credit for his accolades, what he's accomplished, and who he is in the football world. And what he's doing, he's exuding what all he has inside of him. And that was one of our initial conversations. You sitting at home or you chilling out there in California, what are you going to do with all that knowledge in you, man? Why don't you bring it on down here and let's get some good usage out of that thing? So that was pretty much the conversation. And he's a dear friend. I played up under him in Baltimore, but his knowledge and expertise and what he's doing in teaching our other coaches and bringing them along with him is phenomenal. I love the defense. I'm hearing we're lead in scoring defense, rushing defense, total defense. I like the word lead. I've been there all. I love that word. Second fewest first downs allowed, and a couple get big plays, explosions that we surrendered. That's because we've blown coverages. We've blown that allowed them to do such a thing.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, my man.
Next question goes to Zach McKinney.
How are you doing, Coach?
How you doing, sir?
Your offensive line was a point of emphasis this offseason. Can you kind of speak to their performance over these first 2 weeks and what you and the coaching staff have seen from them?
Well, the offensive line, I like to see all y'all when I talk. I'm hitting buttons and then I got to get back to where I need to get there. Okay, offensive line, I think we only have one guy in there starting that was with the offensive line from a year ago. So this is a whole new thing. We feel like our second group, our twos are better than our ones were a year ago. And we got a new coordinator, of course, new thought process, new system, new scheme. And these guys are taking it upon themselves to not only secure our quarterback with the passing game, but the running game. It seems like we didn't move the ball up and down the field, but I think we had over 400 yards offensively. We had over 400 yards again offensively, which is phenomenal. Our quarterback completed 30 passes, which is a lot of darn completions, and we just didn't get the ball in the end zone.
And a quick follow-up about this week, you have a big game with Grambling State. They had a big offensive week under head coach Hugh Jackson. Can you speak to what you and your staff have seen on film as the biggest challenges playing Grambling State this weekend?
First of all, I'm so pleased and excited that Coach Jackson is in the SWAC, is in HBCUs. He's a phenomenal talent. He's a phenomenal mind. This man made it to the highest darn level of football coaching in the NFL. So that's a blessing just to be on the same field. He's a dear friend. I feel as though he's a dear friend that I call and lean on at times, and he's always there for me. I'm going to always be there for him. And what he's doing with that program is going to be phenomenal. You just got to give him time to make it happen. They're going to run the football. They run the football well. They can throw the football well. I think they almost had 300 yards in passing this past week, but they ran the football really well. Defensively, they were stout this week, and they needed that victory to just get that team morale back, and that's something that he's doing. I love everything about Coach. I do.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Kendrick Marshall.
Hey, Coach. Travis didn't play Saturday night. You mentioned that he was nursing an injury. What's his availability for this week against Grambling?
He's not going to play against Grambling as well. Okay. We're going to play Travis when he's healthy and he's ready. We want you to see all of Travis, the offensive guy, the defensive guy, the special teams guy. We want you to see all of him. And I don't want to just ease him in game by game and you're just getting bits and pieces. That's not fair to Travis and his health and his future whatsoever.
All right, quick follow-up. This will be your first home game in Jackson since the situation with the water. Is it still affecting your team? And what does it mean to you to actually play a home game now after what's been going on with the city?
First and foremost, the home game is phenomenal. At the right time, the right place, the right team, the right city. These people are resilient. I love the city of Jackson and the resilience of our people. A home game is like an escape. It's like a vacation from the necessities and the tribulations of life. So we cannot wait. We're expecting. We're praying for a packed house. We're praying that we got the parking situation handled. We're praying that we got the entrance and the situation handled and the traffic and all the foolishness that happens outside the stadium. But we're praying that we got all that together so everybody could mosey on in and have a good time. We got a formidable opponent. They were coached well by Coach Jack and by Coach Hugh. I'm excited. We're trying to put yesterday behind us with the water situation. There have been tremendous acts of charity and kindness with people sending pallets and shipments of water from all over the country. I think we have a gymnasium with 1 quart full of water all the way down there up to the top of the building. So we have enough water for days, trust me. We have enough water. I'm just hoping that everything is in order and structure so that we can have a wonderful game against Grambling State.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Next question goes to Stephen Gate.
Good morning, Coach. How you doing?
How you doing, sir?
Doing well. Obviously there's a lot to talk about this game, Grambling and Jackson State and you and Coach Jackson, but just talk about recruiting. I know there have been a lot of recruits that have mentioned this game as something that they wanted to come and see and be a part of. Obviously it's a home game. Just talk about, what a game like this means for recruiting, when you're, likely to have a packed house and everybody's really excited about the brand of football you guys are playing.
But we don't wait for the games to recruit. We on social, we on everything, recruit every minute, every day, every hour. We constantly posting, we're constantly trying to stay in the faces of these young men. Our coaches attribute a couple hours a day to make sure they get on the recruiting trail and just contact the kids and make sure they understand that we have a desire for them here at Jackson State and also just in the HBCU period. This is a huge game for recruiting. Every game is a huge game for recruiting. You got to win. Nobody want to go nowhere you're losing. You can recruit all you want. If you're not winning, no one wants to come and play for you unless they feel like I can go play there because everybody's sorry. You don't want that kid, okay? We don't want that kid. We want that kid that understands that we're trying to build a dynasty, man. We're trying to build something that everybody want a part of. So you got to bring your A game to even be a part of this, to even be adorned in a Jackson State University uniform. But this is a huge understanding for recruiting for both teams this weekend.
And then lastly, just talk about Niles Gaddy, the performance he's had, throughout the season, through early in the season, but back in Tennessee. Just talk about the things that he was, seeing him excel on that stage the way that he has.
He's upset right now. He underachieved last year, and he knows it. You talk about James Houston. There's another guy on the other side of the field. His name was Niles Gaddy. He didn't get any accolades, any love, any of that. He missed several sacks. He just wasn't ready for the moment last year. But guess what? Instead of pouting and having a pity party, he got in the lab, worked his butt off, studied, prepared, got his body together. He's shaped, getting more snaps. He's understanding and thinking the darn game of football. He gave me an illustration in the post game, about what he saw in both tackles, what he seen from film study. I'm happy and excited about this young man because he has all to be a pro. And I feel like he is an NFL player. I'm proud of it. How many sacks does he have this season? 5.5. 5.5 on the season. And we just started.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Thank you, sir.
Next question goes to Jean-Jacques Taylor.
You gonna turn your thing on? Hey, come on, you're supposed to be a professional.
I'm sorry. How you
walk into the question? You want to do it? Go ahead.
Because I'll be in Jackson tomorrow. Question. Why did you make kicking such a priority in the offseason, not just with Mata, but adding Beza as well?
That's a weakness. That was a tremendous weakness. And as I look and gather around the SWAC, that's a darn weakness all over, not just us. And I needed to address it. One thing that made me special was special teams. Okay, so how can I know what that meant to me in my livelihood, and not that means something to this whole entire team and this university and all over the SWAC? So I addressed it 100%. We went out, the whole transition, snapper, holder, kicker. I mean, all that needed to be upgraded. Punter, every darn thing needed to be upgraded, and we did that. And my man Mata, we tell him he matters to us. He truly matters.
And then
it's like matter, okay.
And then secondly, with your running game, how do you feel like it's improved in terms of you're just able to run the ball when you want to this year?
We could do a little better. We're playing with our pads a little high. Getting to the second level, we got to drop our hips and finish that block and stay our blocks on the second level. But the guys understand now we got to have this in order to have that. We don't just want to sit back there and let Shador throw the ball 40, 50 times a game. That we don't want to do that. We can do that. We can do it very well, but we don't want to do that. To have balance on your offense is phenomenal, because some people are going to come in here and say, you know what, we're not going to let him throw for 300. We're going to make them run. Cool, we'll do that. We're going to tax you. So just having that balance and the understanding and the thought process of new talent and new linemen that says we can run the ball, we're going to practice this, we're going to perfect this. And you hear it. You see the way they take the field in practice. You see the way they take the field in the game. These guys want this thing, man. The difference is we're coaching pros now, not SWAC players. These are pros. These guys is going to go deep. They're just not passing through the SWAC and, swiping a darn card, like it's a library card. These guys are trying to make the next level, and they're going to go.
Then I'm greeting one last one quickly. When you looked at the film, what did you see as the issue in the red zone?
Execution. Plays were there. Well, we dropped the pass. We fumbled again. I think offsides or holding. Just that kind of adolescence. We better than that. You hear every day. You see what we preach. We preach not holding the gun to our own darn head, and that's what we're doing with a full banana clip right now. We're better than that. But I'm happy that our kids are upset and they're able to come to me after the game and come to me in the conclusion of the game and say, Coach, that's on us. But we won by 2 touchdowns. And we're still not satisfied. I like that. I love it.
I appreciate it. I see you.
I'm pretty sure you will.
Last question goes to Dr. Cavill.
Dr. Cavill's inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Coach Prime, good afternoon.
How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. I wanted to ask you somewhat about recruiting, but in terms of pass, the quality of depth that you have on your team overall, specifically, on your defensive side of the ball and being able to rotate your defensive front. How important is that?
It's important. I found that out when I did a little appearance at Walmart, and I went to the back and I seen how deep they were. I said, we got to be deep as a Walmart. We got to be deep as a Walmart, because what happens is you get those big guys up front and then you rotate. Anybody that's offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, they see that stuff from up top, they're going to just hit them on the rotation. They're not deep. So it's good to have a stout four up front or whatever you call it, how many of you call it. But then they're going to tire sooner or later, especially we go tempo. So just having the depth to understand. Right now we're playing defense and we're playing at the level that we're playing without 3 of the starters on defense. We left 14 touchdowns in Malachi Wideman at home when we played against FAM. So just bringing this stuff in and knowing the depth. That's why practice is so darn competitive, because these, they get an injury. We got a left tackle that got hurt a week and a half before the first game. Hadn't done his job because he was working his butt off. So he has to go out there and practice. That's the way you earn it. When we see it in practice, we see it in the game. What we see in practice, we normally see it in the game. It ain't no button, ain't no abracadabra that you can switch it and turn into something else. Just being able to have the depth that we have is phenomenal. And I attribute that to the coaching staff, because they went out and got it. I put the onus on them. Don't sit up here during the game and tell me we don't have this and we don't have that, when you had the luxury to go out there and get what you want. We don't. This guy recruits Florida, this guy recruits Georgia, this guy recruits Louisiana. We don't have a staff like that. We don't have those type of resources. Go get what you want. That's how we recruit. Go get what you want. And I close it.
Thank you, Coach. Look forward to the weekend.
Thank you, my man.
Coach Sanders, as always, we appreciate your time and we look forward to speaking with you next week.
Thank you. You know what? I'm sorry. It was one last thing I needed to say, and I need all you to understand this. You have a home. This is something that I need to address, and I'm glad you give me the opportunity to. We have an opportunity, the iPhone, we have an opportunity to play against these Power 5, and it's cool. I know some things you do and some things you do for money. I don't agree with that because I think that's the ultimate sign, the other phone, iPhone, the ultimate sign of selling out. I was talking about sellout in our vernacular. And I don't like that terminology. But when we do something just for money, what is that called? What is that called? If I'm sitting up here, I wanted some numbers. Okay. And I'm looking at numbers that they gave me. Marshall got $1.25 million to play against Notre Dame. Appalachian State got $1.5 million to play against Texas A&M. Georgia Southern got $1.4 million to play against Nebraska. Okay, and so forth. Now let's get to us. FAMU got $450 to play against North Carolina. Southern, thank God, you got $760. I like that. Alabama State, $590 for UCLA. You probably exhausted that in the flight going all the way across the country. Bethune-Cookman, I don't even know what their payout is. We're still trying to find out that. Alabama A&M, $300,000 as well to play against UAB. If we're gonna get our butt kicked, shouldn't it be worth it? How in the world are we selling for the peanuts and the little minute droppings that they're giving us when everybody's darn near 500,000-600,000? Should we get together and huddle up as a HBCU and say we're not playing these beat down games unless we get this? Now, don't go up under it. You can negotiate above, but have the level be 750 or $1 million. Have something. Make it worth your team's while, because you're going to lose players. You're going to lose pride and dignity when we sit up here and telling you we're just as good, but you go out there and show that we're not as good. We're not nearly as good. And then you're losing 3 to 4 players because of the type of beating that you've got. Now you got to lift them and build them back up the next week to go back there and say, you could do it this week. Forget about last week, but you could do it this week. I don't understand that. I don't understand how we allow these other schools to get these type of purses to play against the same team that we're playing against. So who's negotiating this? Can we get together and form a committee or something and say, we're not doing it unless we get $1 million. Negotiate up, but don't negotiate down. And that $1 million should go directly to your football department. They out there getting their butts kicked. Not the rest of the school. They out there getting their butts kicked. They out there getting abused. They out there getting hurt. They out there getting injured. And then you want to spread it out of the school? I don't agree with that. If they're out there playing, they should reap the benefits of the sacrifices that they're making. I just don't like when I'm seeing guys get 1.4, 1.2, 1.7, or whatever, and we getting peanuts. I don't like that. So that means we're not doing well business-wise. I just want to alarm you on that kind of stuff because that's the kind of stuff I think about. And that matters to me. That's the ultimate sellout to me. So I'd rather us get together, somebody take the lead. I'll be glad to. I'm used to being in that position and say, you know what? We're not doing it. Well, Coach Brown, it's easy for y'all to say, no, we're in the same financial situation. We're not in a better financial situation than any of the rest of everybody. We may do more. We're able to work more, and we're able to go out there and get more because we got to go get them. But when it comes to selling our kids out, I can't take it, man. It frustrates me. It angers me. It upsets me wholeheartedly. And I'm sorry for venting, but when I see that kind of stuff and I look at those stats, and it makes me mad. It really does. Because we're trying to preach that we're just as good. Then we go out there and get beat down for peanuts. Don't like it. God bless y'all. Have a wonderful day. I am.
Appreciate your time, Coach. We will send this recording out here momentarily once we get it processed on Zoom. Once again, thank you for all of our media that have participated on the call. We look forward to speaking with you all next week. Have a great day.